The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Oh yeah, how you doing? Is anybody out there? It's is there an official name before the day? But
Easter Saturday.
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Oh, there's a Good Friday.
Easter
there's a Palm
Saturday.
Sunday. There's a Easter Sunday. There's a little bit of something. But I don't think there's anything in between the Saturday. I think the Saturday in between is the waiting day, right?
It's the day of rest.
The day of there you go. So I could actually go on for a little day of rest myself. To be quite frank with you. For some reason, 7:30 on Saturday rolled around a little earlier this Saturday than it did normally. And anyway, we are here. I'm here. You're here.
I'm here. We're here.
Chris is in there, but I can't really see him. Oh, there, I saw the B on his hat move there. He's in there. Chris is in there. So we're here. Hopefully you're there. And I got a lot of stuff to cover today. Some of it doesn't make any sense to me, which is usually the case. Most of it doesn't. This I understand. The peeps. I got
Peeps.
the peeps.
I can understand peeps.
The big sugar bailout. We'll talk about why the U.S. government's going to buy 400,000 tons of sugar.
Nice.
Yeah. And sweeten
Can't
them,
wait to hear this one.
sweeten them up back east a little bit. And I got, of course, in the city of Sacramento showed up in the Wall Street Journal again this morning. That's not always good. That's not always good when the city of Sacramento shows up in the Wall Street because it's never a good story. Like,
No.
hey, look how well they're doing out there. It's always something else. So we'll talk about that. And if you buy gold or silver, how do you pay that price? Who determines it?
Right.
This, both John and I are looking at
That's
each other like,
mind-boggling.
that doesn't make any sense to me. And, of course, it's got to be right if it doesn't make any sense because
Absolutely.
nothing makes any sense except for it's 9 o'clock and we got to go. 339, and we got to talk to Chris, too. 339-1140 is our number here in the studio, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us today at 441140 if you want. We're going to blow out the rest of our Sierra at Tahoe ski passes today, which doesn't mean much. I think I said I had
18.
Oh, I had that many?
That's what I hear.
Is that 3? Yeah, I guess maybe I did have 18. Maybe we'll do them by pairs today.
Sounds good.
Give you a pair of
I
passes.
actually had some friends up there last week. They say it's still very good.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm going to get a little snow today, probably.
Yep.
So we start. Well, Chris is on the phone now. We start every day with the Mind from Christopher Lobb. We can come back to that. He's talking. People are already calling in. I thought for sure it was just you and me today.
I thought everybody was asleep.
Just gonna actually go in the other room and just call me and go. I got a question, and I'll pretend like it's not you, and then I'll pretend like I know the answer, and it'll be just like every other regular show.
That's right.
I did spend a little time in SoCal. In fact, right after last Saturday's show. I think it's not right after. Our flight was at that night. Anyway, that day we went down to what I call my tour of the Diegos.
Tour of the Diegos.
Tour of the Diegos is what I like to call it. So I have a junior in high school daughter, and she has her eyes and sights set on going to college, which is a good start.
That is
When
a
I
good
was
start.
when I was a junior, I was just like worried about,
Not college.
just what I was going to do tomorrow,
Right.
let alone. And I wasn't carrying particularly the same GPA as my daughter was, and I wasn't highly motivated in high school. I think high school was a little too easy for me. So I didn't really, and it wasn't like my parents said, oh yeah, you want to go to Harvard, you want to go to Stanford. It's like basically, you go to junior college if you're lucky, or
There's a school down the street here,
or
too.
Sac State if you can get in, and that was about it. So I wasn't, tremendously motivated. And the difference is that I had already had probably seriously, when I was a junior in high school, I probably already had about 10 jobs. I pretty much knew by that point, which is the advantage of working when you're young, is you pretty much realize that most of the people that you work for are dumbasses. And much like here in the radio station, Chris is the smartest guy in the building, and they trap him in the little building in there. You can jump in there, Chris, when you want. And so by the time I was a junior and senior in high school, I pretty much realized that I was not going to put up with having somebody tell me what time to show up, how much I was going to get paid, and then I would be promoted when that guy either died or was fired, or he was promoted, then I could move up. I wasn't going to work.
You weren't going that track?
No, it wasn't going to work for me. So I would rather have been broke than to fall in line with that type of a ladder program. So I pretty much was like, I'm going to have to figure something on my own. And I did go to college, but anyway, that's a side story. I'll get back to my Diego tour there in a minute. Are you done on the phone there?
I am done on the phone.
Okay, hey, if you're going to do your job, then that'd be the first time this month. So what's going on in your mind there? And we'll get to what Bob's on hold. We'll get to Bob there.
Well, in a couple days, KJ is going to be going to New York, having his meeting with the Board of Governors. Hopefully you will be getting some good news in the Wall Street Journal about Sacramento.
Yeah.
And what he's pushing for right now is herewebuy.org, trying to show that we could get 10,000 season ticket holders by that time. A couple days ago, it was around 5,000. We're just about 10,000. We're at 8,991.
Now, are we committing to season ticket holders in the new building? Or
in the new building. So this isn't. So it's not like, I got to buy season tickets for next season. It's the new building. Another question that I thought was kind of interesting were people saying like, I'm already season ticket holders. Why do I need to do this? Well, this just shows that there will be people wanting season tickets. So
okay, so I guess I didn't get that because I certainly, and certainly through my company. If we had a new building, I think for sure I would sign up for some new tickets. That the building will sell out the place for the first couple of years, regardless of what the team is.
Definitely.
So
I think it's going to sell out just with new owners.
You very well could be. So what can you give us or look up and tell me later what's the website we go to? Is it just the Kings?
It's herewebuy.org.
Okay, so
that's basically a pledge saying that you want season tickets. You do want season tickets with a new arena.
Okay.
And what the deal is they give the info to hopefully the new owners coming in, and then you'll be getting contacted by the new owners of the Kings saying, you want season tickets?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'd be interested in doing that. All right, Chris, that's good. And we got the phones are already ringing in today. Maybe we aren't the only people listening. And why is my ears are just like humming? Are you?
Yeah, it's really. I don't know what it is.
I don't know whether it's the lights or what's going on here. This thing is just like getting a little back feed there. Anyway, so let's get. I'll get into my stuff later. People are already calling in here. Let's figure out what Bob wants. What's going on in Bob's mind there? Hey, Bob, welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
Good morning. I have a trick question of the morning, and that is, can you guys explain the computer currency that's gone worldwide that's called a Bitcoin? And I understand it's escalating in value to the dollar, like skyrocketing.
No.
We talked about this quite a while ago.
You did? The Bitcoin?
This was.
I don't. Maybe I was I here that day?
I thought you were.
So do you know what the answer is, Bob, or do you know what the story, the backstory?
I read an article, but I was as confused when I got done reading the article as I was when I started. But apparently, it is a currency of exchange that's being used to trade for goods and services on the internet.
Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't have any country behind it. It's no Federal Reserve or nothing. It's just out there as a worldwide currency.
Well, there's no support behind our currency either. So what the hell?
Exactly. That's the point.
I'm gonna come up with a Jeff coin, and we can all pass it around, and we'll have the Chris coin and the John coin, and they'll have as equal much backing as the U.S. dollar does. So I will look that. You know what? For some reason that maybe it wasn't here that day.
Okay. I remember having a big conversation about this quite a while ago, and that was the last time I heard about it, to be honest with you.
So, Bob, I'm going to put you back on hold because that's a good question. We're going to give you some round table pizza there. And if you know about the Bitcoin, then you can give us a call, or you can call Bob directly if you want. But if you know Bob, but I don't think I was here that show. I don't think I heard that. That does not ring a bell to me. And as much junk as I come across and read, and I haven't come across that one, so that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah, right here it's more than $1 billion worth of digital currency known as Bitcoins now circulate on the web. $1 billion worth of
so is it
something you don't know about.
Is it basically a barter system?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to Raphael. How you doing? Welcome to Talkin' Money.
Good. How are you guys?
What's happening?
Listen, so I just got a question. We did a modification about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, let's say. We had a house payment, a loan for $275,000, and when they modified it, what they did is they lowered our payments to like $113, and then they took the $160 or $170 and put it on the end, right?
Okay, right.
In 2035, we'd have this, balloon payment or whatever it would be. So that's great. Lowered our payment. It was fantastic. But then this year we get a 1099-C for $60,000. And when we went to our tax guys, they called the place. Aquin is who we have our loan through, and they said, "Oh, we wrote off $175,000, so they're 1099-ing us for 3 years. They're splitting it up." But as far as I know, my paperwork shows that we owe that money. But they're saying no, all we owe is $102,000 now, and in 2035 it'll be paid off. But we never got any. I don't know if that's what loan companies are doing now, or I don't know.
Check your note.
Yeah, interesting. So, so how much was your 1099-C for?
60.
For 60 grand?
Yeah.
Which is?
It's like 59. They're splitting it up in three. They said they were going to split it in 3 years.
Yeah.
I called the actual, one of the representatives, and that's what they said. And I'm just kind of scared. I'm scared. Do we really owe it so $100,000? And then are we going to have this balloon payment at the end? Or once they 1099 us, they're pretty much saying they wrote it off, right? They can't 1099 us and then at the end say we owe them again, right?
No, I would almost do is I'd almost like call in a payment demand or payoff demand just to see what they say is owed. And almost like if you were going to do a refinance or a sale, you could get the payoff department to send you a demand just to see what they're saying, the balance is. Because the problem is now is that you have you got basically a $60,000 income pushed to you.
Yeah.
And so that could be somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $20,000 in tax. So how the hell are you going to pay that?
Yeah, exactly.
And in a modification, the note's not changed as far as the balance. So how do you?
Well, did they make you sign a new note and deed?
When we did the loan?
Yeah, when you did the mod.
Yeah, and I don't have my paperwork. Yeah, we signed. We signed a bunch of papers.
Yeah, so I'd go dig those back out and see what your new note amount was because, yeah, you're right. I mean, they can't simultaneously say they walked away from 180 grand and ding you for it, and then on top of that collect the money later on. So,
right.
I'd also suggest that a tax accountant that is into the new rules, what you are taxed on, what you're not, and make sure because that is going to be a chunk of change in tax payment.
There's still some debt forgiveness
right.
rule is this year. So if you were gonna do that, and that was really the way they were going to do it, you'd probably would be better off if you got all of it. Either last year and this year, because that you can still kind of avoid the taxes on some debt relief, but that's going to end it this year. So maybe for 2012 you got 60 grand, and then for 2013 you're supposed to get another 60 grand, and then one more, right?
Well, what's funny is Jeff, they said they sent us one last year, and we didn't get it.
Oh.
They said they only sent us one last year.
Okay, for 11.
And we never, it's in 99. We never got it.
Wow.
Right.
Is this something that you might want to talk about in person?
Yeah, but it's not my expertise. That's the problem. Is that
Gotcha.
is that the loan modifications are something that we don't deal with because it comes directly from the servicer, and the tax implications of it, I have no idea. I mean, that's really like an attorney or a CPA issue. And I think if it were me, and that money falls under the same thing if you did a short sale or if you did a foreclosure and you had the debt forgiveness, if that's the same category, and I'm not saying that it is, but it sounds like it is,
right.
I would call the servicer and say, you know what, load me up now. I mean, give it all to me now because you can avoid the tax on those issues through this year only, and that could be one hell of a lot of money in terms of just tax obligation due.
Right.
So, and
again, the verification that you're not going to get hit at the end too with this balloon. There's a couple different pieces you really need to square away.
Yeah, you got to dig out your paperwork and you got to figure out what you really obligated yourself to repay.
So we can call them and say, give us what did you call it?
Yeah, the note. Yeah, ask for the copy of the loan modification. They should have sent you one, but if they didn't, ask them to send you one. And then they also should have a payoff department, a number you could call. Or and ask for an actual payoff demand as if you were going to sell it, and that would tell you how much they're on their end they think they owe. You owe.
We can get that. Send it to us in writing, so we'd have it in writing. Right?
Yeah, but I would really get all that paperwork together, and I'd go find a real good CPA or an attorney and just say, what is it we really owe here, and if it's not clear, let's get it in writing. And if I'm going to have to get all these 1099s, can I get them now? If I can avoid the tax on it, because next year that could be fairly rude.
Okay, so that the program goes through this year, 2013.
Yeah, they extended it through this year.
All right.
So you don't want any 2014 1099 income, or that's going to be awfully hard to pay.
Gotcha. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Appreciate it.
That's a new one to me. I haven't seen.
Well, I have, numerous times modification gets added to the back.
That's
normal.
Yeah.
But now to say that they're splitting it into 3 years and
forgiving it
almost sounds like on their end that's how they're writing it off. But you can't write it off and then get it later too.
I don't know. That doesn't something sounds weird there. One of the two. But anyway, who knows? There's a lot of weird things going on. Maybe they've just decided we're never going to get our money back. Let's just take the losses now. The bank. So, and if that's the case, then just tell me.
Right.
That you're going to 1099 me for $180,000 because I better figure that out. That could put someone into bankruptcy if it wasn't for the law. In fact, it would probably. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140 if you'd like. I'm going to try to figure out why these things are humming me. I'll turn these lights off. Something's going on here. We got a quiz question for you for a pair of passes to Sierra Tahoe if you're a skier. If you are not, I'll send you some Round Table Artisan Flatbread Pizza if you're into that. And either one is all good, and there'll be a little bit of snow, and we'll get the passes out to you real quick so you can go. So if you know the answer, 339-1140, or you can text me at 441140. What do you got?
So since we're talking about the craziness, the question regards to mortgages top financial complaint list. So the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, it would help if the lights were on so I could... which institution, top bank, has the most complaints, and it's by almost double the next in line. So which bank is having the most complaints
from CFPB?
From CFPB.
So that's Consumer Finance. This is their new hotline, so set up at the end of 11, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so which institution is getting the most complaints and by a long shot? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We're going to take a quick break. This is Talkin' Money.
Aquin is on the list somewhere.
Aquin's on the list there? Yeah, they're all on their list probably somewhere. If you're in business, you're going to get a complaint. That's a fact. So, which is the number one bank? This is Talkin' Money. Jeff Tarbell, John Ferrero. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' Money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? Oh, looks like we lost the buzz in my head.
It could have just been last night.
Yeah, maybe the aspirin kicked in or something. I don't know what happened. I think it was that light. One of those lights was doing that. Who knows? Who cares?
We're so high tech here.
If they don't have to hear on their end, well, that's all right. We did have a question during the break. 339-1140, by the way, is our number. 339-1140. You can text us at 441140. Got a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in. Getting some early calls today. Thank you very much. Always makes it fun when we can figure out what we don't know. We're all together on the same page. So what was I forget our question now. I'm behind here.
With the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and their new tracking of complaints, which mortgage institution has the highest number of complaints by a long shot?
Now, see, I would have guessed Wells, and not because for any other reason other than they had such a huge market share. Just they've been the biggest for so long. I would think just by percentage they would be.
And they're number 2.
They're number 2. So number 1's got to be then
Bank of America. Leads the way, which obviously they're doing a lot of mortgages themselves.
Servicing. Yeah, well, they're certainly still carrying a lot. Yeah, right. Although they're unloading them quickly. A lot of people who had B of A are probably ending up at Aquin or Green Tree or other places that are picking up the servicing. You're going to notice a lot of that, by the way. A lot of lenders you're used to having your loans with are unloading them, and they're doing it for a couple reasons. There's a little bit of increased value in the servicing value right now for a lender, because think about this for a second. If you do a loan that's at 3 or 2.75 on a 15-year or 3.5 or somewhere in the high 2s or 3s, what's the likelihood that you're going to be refinancing that mortgage anytime soon?
Probably not very high.
Yeah, probably not very much. So, and on average, people will generally stay in their house or keep their loan about 7 years. So you figure if you're someone who wants to buy that or hold that servicing, and servicing means they're collecting your payments from you, and they get paid a little bit of an income from each payment that comes in. So if you're going to buy something, and you're going to buy something to hold, you're going to pay a little higher value. So John's holding all these loans that are all 3% and says, hey, I want to sell them. I look at that and go, wow, I'll probably have those for 7 to 10 years. So I can do some math on the income, and I go, okay, John, I'll pay you a pretty good penny for those. And if John's sitting on a bunch of stuff at 5%, high 4s, 5s, and 6s, I'm going to go, John, that stuff's going to go away. Either that's a buyer who's planning to sell, so they're not refinancing, or they're going to refinance real darn quick. So I'm not going to pay anything for those. So a couple changes in the market. But the other big change is this, what we're referring to in this column here is the CFPB, is that there's some brand new rules as far as servicing requirements. One of the biggest complaints about lenders is the way that they handle their servicing and the way that they deal with you and me as a customer, and the new rules that they're going into place and requirements for them. So that's becoming a lot more stringent. So some of the banks are saying, you know what, forget it. It's just not worth it to us. We don't want to deal with it. We don't make enough money from it. Or we don't want to. We're just tired of being in the newspaper. It's called headline risk. For whatever reason, we want to get out. So you're going to see a lot of changeover right now, and you're going to see a lot of companies like our company is going into servicing. We want to maintain our clients. So if you do a loan through John or I at Comstock, going forward, there's a very good chance that we may be your servicing lender from then on. And so you're going to see a lot of smaller companies retaining their own servicing, because it gives me an opportunity to be in contact with you on a monthly basis. You get a statement from me every month, right? And hopefully you feel a little better confidence, like, okay, I know who's got my loan. If I have some problems, I can call them, as opposed to calling a big bank. And then lastly, quite frankly, and for us, the biggest benefit is that if there's going to be a change and you want to pay somebody off, we'll know about it. Because the letter will come in saying, hey, we're going to pay you off. Okay, it gives us a chance to contact you again. Why? Are you refinancing? You looking to move? Those kind of things too. So there's some real value in servicing for a smaller company like ourselves, because it keeps us in touch with you. For the huge companies, it's a nightmare.
Right.
You have to have these gigantic operations, and it isn't easy to do. It isn't easy to do, and it's not cheap to do either. So you'll see a lot of that. So if you have, if you don't be surprised, even if you're with a Wells or B of A or a Chase, if your servicing doesn't come out through somebody else, someone you've never even heard of, they're just companies set up that's all they do is servicing. And Aquin is a good example of that company. So you'll see those changes a little bit too. So B of A was the correct answer. We'll give out some winners. I guess they had some ski passes and some round table artisan pizzas, and whatever you prefer, we will do that. Get those out of there. I did mention, and I've got to find somebody who can come in and talk about college financing and kind of the money behind kids going to college, because certainly
maybe Tom's wife.
Yeah, that could very well be. I was thinking, that could be a good example. I'm trying to figure out, it's, as I mentioned when I started the show and I kind of got off track and got back on, we were down in Southern California, and it was funny because I must have run into a third of the people that of our community up here. Just everybody was down there.
Is that right?
If you just look at Facebook and think, oh yeah, Tom's down there, Bill's down there, and we were just running into people at different schools, and all we were doing is just kind of driving around, and we had a couple formal tours, and we wanted to look at at the states, the UCs, and the privates, because it's if you say private college, you're going to send your daughter to private college, that's expensive. Well, first of all college is expensive. Now it's a math problem. So you start looking around at the state colleges. You say, a state college runs. Let's just pick a number. Let's just say it's $20,000. Okay, well, $20,000 times what? Well, probably times 6. Because 6 years. Because the problem is not because your kid is stupid or your kid is slow. Your kid can't get in the damn class.
Right.
So when I went to Sac State 23 years ago, it took me 5 years. Part because I'm a dumbass, and part because I was trying to be a professional water skier, and part time. You can blame it, but also I had a hard time getting classes. That was 23 years ago, and it's only gotten worse. You start looking into these websites that are really phenomenal, that do all the math. Do all the kind of the analysis for you, and they say you take a school like it doesn't even matter. Just pick UC Long Beach. CSU Long Beach. 40,000 applicants per year, and they take 5,000 or something like that. So you start looking at the state colleges, and you say, okay, they're getting just bombarded with applicants, taking a very small percentage. And certainly if your grades are really great, great and everything else too, you probably will get in there. But then you look at the average, they produce a list that says, average number of kids that graduate in 4 years. In the state colleges, it's under 50%. It's like in the 30-40% range that can graduate in 4 years. So If a state college is, say, $25,000 a year and you're going by 6 years, that's $150,000. Well, if you can go to a private university, and even if it's $40,000 and you get out in 4 years, you're at $160,000. Is it that much more expensive? Per year it is, but the overall expense. And now you come out and say, okay, what did I get for my 100 and whatever grand, however you paid for it? So you got a CSU degree, or I got a private university degree. Well, is there a market difference for them? And so we've done a lot of looking around, and a lot of it depends on, what it is your child wants to accomplish. I mean, is there a certain? I mean, we were looking at school that had a kind of a certain fit for what she wanted to do, and we started there and worked our way around. So then you say, a lot of these other things will tell you, percentage of graduates hired within the first 6 months, average income starting job, breakdown of demographics of who they're going to school with, and you just goes boom, 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 right on down the line. People who freshmen who renewed at the same school, that tells you a lot. If only 50% of the freshmen came back the second year, I think there's something wrong there. So they weren't getting what they promised. So so if you can do some of that research in advance, we'll have to find somebody. Maybe Tom's wife would be a good choice. And then you get into what I think is fascinating is the part that I don't understand is that the private colleges have to be competitive with the state and the UCs. They don't have to be on par, but they have to be competitive. So you look at, they have like their published rate, and I'll just pick a number. I'll just pick a round number because it's common for private colleges, about $50,000 a year, which is a ton of money. But then you look at the actual net cost, what the students are actually net paying, and by the time they get some, I don't know if they're grants from the school or scholarships and little things here and there that aren't repaid back. You look at kind of a net cost of, let's say, 38, and then you look at the UC and it's at 35. There's not a huge difference through some of these if you can get a couple of these benefits, and that's what I think we need to have someone come talk about. Right. Is how do you get these little benefits, these little grants, these little things that kind of defer the cost? And what I don't know is that only for the first year they got the grant, or is that for all 4 years? So those kind of things you got to look into. They suck you in for the first year. Oh yeah, the first year is $30,000. Oh, okay, that's great. And then the next 3 are $130,000. Oh, right. Youch. So and then you get into the real art that Tom's wife and the other people do of all these FAFSA applications.
Yeah, really just understanding that whole process.
Yep. And we saw sophomores down there, and most of them were juniors. And quite frankly, if you're a senior and you're down there looking at colleges for the first time, you're probably behind the 8 ball, right? Because you've got to be about 9 months to a year ahead of time, where you want to go, and do you have all your ducks in a row? And my wife was telling me that if a school gets down to 2 applications, and they've got John and my application sitting there, and John's been to the school 3 times, and he's been in contact with, John wants to play soccer there, and he's been in contact with a coach, and they've met, and he's been to tours, and my grades might even be better, and I've got my application there, and they look at them, well, Jeff hasn't even come out to the school yet. John's been here 3 times and already has been talking to the soccer coach. Yeah, he's probably he probably doesn't have quite the GPA that Jeff does, but he's shown all this interest, so we're taking John. And this is flat out what we've been told by going to school.
Interesting.
So you have to put some time, into it. And I'm talking about people that that are not getting athletic scholarships and other things too. I'm talking about just you're just run the mill students. And we were down there, and then we came up into Orange County, and we drove through the USC. There's a interesting.
That Irvine.
USC is just north.
Oh, USC. Okay.
Yeah, USC.
Right, smack dab in the heart of LA.
Yeah, just kind of northeast of the airport there. That is an interesting area. A little, people frightened us. They're like, "Oh yeah, dude, don't go there at night. No, don't go there at night." So we drove through there. It wasn't the best area coming through, but when you get to the university by itself, but you talk about just a massive facility, and it was in session, and I do recommend that you go if you can while the school's in session. We were there. Some of them were on spring break, some of them were not. But you get a real good feel for kind of the level of activity, what the students look like, how you can talk to some of the students and different things too. And so we had a much different experience from the schools where their kids were doing their thing, and versus just walking on a campus. It was just then all you're doing looking around, this is a pretty place to be. I mean, the nicest campus we saw flat out of all of them was probably the University of San Diego, which is a private Christian college. Beautiful, but my daughter didn't like it. But it was, from an actual just aesthetic standpoint. That and Point Loma, which is right on the coast.
Yeah, I was going to say Point Loma is nice over there too.
Yeah, but Point Loma is a school that the school itself is kind of a dump. I mean, the buildings are old. It's just kind of been kind of hacked together over the years.
Your child's not getting in that school right now. Somebody's listening.
Yeah, I know. But it sits on the point overlooking the beach, and it's gorgeous. So it all depends on what you want. But it is a fascinating exercise, and you have to. I think unless you just got like we went to LMU just because it was up that way, and one of the Hilton boys, Paris Hilton's brother, goes there. So if you got that kind of money, I guess you can go wherever you want, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just shy of that. I think I can spell Hilton. I mean, that's as close as I am. So for us, my wife, we got to treat it as a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be. I don't care where you go. It's going to be $100,000 to $200,000 experience per kid, and because I don't have any false hopes that we're getting any sort of a scholarship or any sort of anything. So that's a lot of money, and whether you beg, borrow, or steal it, someone's got to pay it. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to spend, it's like buying a house.
Yeah.
And you got to do some research, and my wife has hired an advisor that helps you kind of do things. And I look at the stuff you have to go through. I'm thought, my God, I'd never get in college.
No way.
I mean, you got to do all these outside source things, and you got to do this, you got to write this, you got to do this. I'm like, are you kidding me? We showed up with a Sac State application and said, I'm here. Do I get in or not? Yeah, you get in.
And I live up the street.
I live down the street, and I can, So it is a different world, or it can be a different world.
Definitely.
And then do you go to junior college first and knock out some of the pre-stuff for a lot cheaper, which I think is a great idea.
But do you get the same experience? I mean, you could go on and on.
That's part of it. I mean, we went to a school.
We'll figure it out because we're a little bit behind you. So once you get that figured out, let me know.
I'll write you a little paper on it, let you know. But I promise you, because I know that there's a lot of the people listening to the show that are right in the same age bracket as I am, at least with their kids. And that was a funny thing. We were standing at one college, and I look around, and there was a group of 50 of us probably in this one tour, and I look around and like everybody, all the parents look old except for me because that's the problem.
You're just a spring chicken, Jeff.
No, I know I'm just as old as, but the problem is in my own mind, it's like I should still be going to this college. I shouldn't be thinking my kids at this college.
Rodney Dangerfield style.
And I still act like I'm in college. So how could I possibly be here with my daughter who wants to go to the school? And that was a little bit eye-opening too. So anyway, it was fun, and we will get somebody on here who can talk about some of the little tricks of the trade, because there are certainly tricks of the trade. I mean, I've had people tell me, "You got to quit your job, dude." Yeah. That's how
that option's out.
That is how I always get to the top of the chart. Is I quit earning any income. That'll be, but our buddy Sarducci, he knows a guy who quit his job, and he because he had 3 kids in college at the same time, which I will have at some point. And for whatever reason, I haven't figured out the logic behind it. I don't know how you eat or pay your bills.
Let's think about that. So 3 kids at 120 a year. I mean, you start calculating.
Yeah, but so where does the 120 come from if you're not working?
It's gifted.
Gift from who?
It just comes in.
I ain't got no relatives that are going to gift me anything other than get out my house gift.
And you still have to pay your own mortgage payment.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's what I'm talking about. How do you eat? And your kids are going to these great colleges and they're living in dorms. I might be living with them on the same student loan.
That could be fun.
I'm sure that would be a dream ride.
Yes, for everybody.
Dream ride for everybody. So now I have totally blown through another segment, but we'll come back to that with someone who knows what they're talking about. Let's do another quiz question, take another quick break. So we are running behind the schedule here today. We've got a couple lines open if you want to jump in. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. And by the way, there's a third of you out there that are listening right now who have already gone through this with your kids. If you know a secret or you know something that we should be talking about or we should know, please don't keep it to yourself. You can give us a call today, 339-1140.
I got a secret.
Okay.
Don't have kids.
That is a little late for me. That is, was that on the air, by the way?
Oops.
That was on the air.
That was on the air. Okay, yeah, don't have kids. This is and I had this discussion with my wife. I told her, look we are perfectly funded for one child. The problem is we got 3. So pick one. One of them's going to get a fantastic experience. The other 2 are going to be, well, there's a good college right down the street from here. It's the American River College. We can go there. That one is probably, I don't even know what junior college runs anymore. It ain't free either. So.
I hear it's pretty hard to get classes there, even harder.
Really? At the junior college? Oh,
Well,
welcome to midnight.
AR, things like that.
Welcome to midnight class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, give us your quiz question there.
So this 17-year-old doesn't quite have these challenges. His name is Nick DeLucio, and the question is, what did he do?
Is this the boy from London?
This is the boy from London.
Okay, Nick DeLucio.
17 years old. He started something at age 15.
Okay.
And he's now not very concerned about how he's going to pay from college.
Oh, yeah?
He's taking some time off.
Okay.
So what did he do? What did he do or sell that has brought him a few dollars?
A few dollars? Okay, Nick DeLucio, 17 years old, out of London, England, created something and sold it, sounds like. Maybe he created the next widget. What did he do? That was this week, wasn't it? Or at least they announced it this week.
Yes, it was announced in March.
Oh, in March. Yeah, okay, this month. So what did Nick DeLucio, 17 years old, from London, England, do? Or sell, or build, or buy, or something? He's got a few bucks in it. Does he tell us how much he got?
It says millions.
With a Z?
With a Z.
Millions.
Millions.
Good old Nick. Maybe Nick will give us a scholarship.
There you go.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. Maybe he has those, what was that fake money call on the computer? He create that?
Bitcoins.
Bitcoin? Maybe he created the Bitcoin.
Maybe.
Maybe all $1 billion in his pocket. Oh, well, Nick, he's smarter than we are. We'll be right back.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
Let's rejoin your host, Jeff Tarbell, and Talkin' Money.
Right. How you doing? Welcome back, Jack. We've been waiting for you. We start at 9, by the way.
Wake up.
Don't be late, because we almost were today. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 if you want to jump in. You can text us at 441140. I am getting some college-related texts. I'm getting some quiz-related texts. So what was our Wonder Kid's name?
His name is Nick DeLucio.
Okay, 17 years old from London. I knew that.
Yes.
What did he do?
He sold an app called Sumly, or Sumly is the company.
Okay.
And to Yahoo for, there's different numbers all over, but tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it looks like, I think, you there? Oh.
You there? Hello?
Yeah, there you go. All of a sudden, my headphones just kicked in. Maybe that's part of the part I was hearing there. I think he, I want to say about almost $30 million is what is being reported. So $30 million, 17-year-old sells his company for $30 million.
This is a kid who taught himself how to create computer programs at age 12.
And what does this app do? It reads and summarizes articles or something to that effect? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have to even read for yourself anymore? You just buy an app that tells you what to read?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Yeah. You don't have to think anymore.
So
Jeff.
I have a place where he can put his $30 million right here. So think about this now. You sold your 17 years old and you sold something for a lot of money, in this case $30 million. So theoretically the kid will never have to work again if he's a good manager of money.
His parents are helping him manage money.
I bet they are. Look at the new Porsche we got there, Nikki. I've got all the colors. But then you put that into comparison to this. So Larry Ellison, you heard of Larry Ellison?
Yes, sir.
Owns a little computer company,
Mm-hmm.
a few other things too. He's putting one of his Lake Tahoe places on the market in Glenbrook. You know where Glenbrook is on the Nevada side?
I do.
Yeah, Glenbrook is a great little subdivision. He put together some properties over the years. He's now selling his 9,200 square foot main house with 6 bedrooms, 8 baths, and 1/2 bathroom. Of course, you got to mention that. Spent 3 years remodeling from the ground up. It has a main house plus the guest house of 1,326 square feet, plus another 2,900 square foot lakefront house, plus 230 feet of lakefront frontage, plus 2 piers, floating dock, 2 buoys, rock breakwater, lakeside cabana, sun deck, built-in barbecue, and some boats and stuff too. Asking price, I'll tell you, he's into this for about, he paid 11.7 plus 3, so he's into about 14 million plus the remodel cost. Asking price is $28.5 million. So, and I honest to God, I can't fathom even having $30 million in the bank. I mean, so let's say you did, then you realize this guy wants all of that.
All of that.
for a house plus another house and plus a dock front. So, I mean, and this is not even his big place.
He's probably there like 3 times a year.
This is the little, POS on the corner there. He's got the big one at the North Shore he's building, which is 7.6 acres, 420 feet of lakefront, where he's just getting ready to move into. So this is the crap. This is the old girlfriend at $28.5 million for. You can't. I mean, so this is a point in time where
it's a hotel.
But this is just like where you've got so much money. Money doesn't mean anything. So a $30 million, and if you follow Elsa, he's kind of a collector of fine properties. I mean, this is not even the start of it. So here this kid who made what most people consider to be
a lot of
the
money,
biggest windfall ever they've ever seen.
Isn't that much?
And it wouldn't even, after tax, wouldn't even cover the one house Mr. Ellison is getting rid of.
You're crying about sending your kids to school.
I know, and I'm talking about state college, What's my problem?
Unbelievable.
I'm not thinking big enough. That's
right.
my problem.
That's right.
That's my problem. I am not thinking big enough. Let's see. Let's get to Doug here. Doug's thinking big for us. Doug, welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
All right. That house at Larry Ellison's, the price of that is probably close to $500,000 a year alone.
Oh, easy. And you take the maintenance of the place plus the taxes on the Nevada side plus everything else too. Yeah, you're right. You get in there. It's like everybody tells you when you buy a boat, buying the boats is the cheap part. And then it's all the other things that go on to keep it afloat. So yeah, you're right, Doug. That was just the start. But if you can afford $30 million to get in, hell, $500,000 a year, nothing.
Change.
Yeah, ain't nothing. What's on your mind?
I was laughing about your talk about visiting colleges. We did the same thing about 3 years ago. My child goes to University of San Diego.
Yeah,
but you're right. It is for the average person. I mean. It is a lot of, it's like a business decision.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Who's going to give you the best financial aid package or some type of scholarship, things like that. And we're lucky is my wife kind of changed jobs when she was a freshman, so we got to take her income off. So that made us qualify for 1 year, a little more financial aid, which helped out.
So, and by financial aid, Doug, do you mean that you were able to? So, does that mean a loan that has to be paid back, or does it mean like a grant where it was like assistance to get in? And that's the part I'm having the hardest trouble with. Is
a lot of schools like LMU should love that, but
yeah.
They didn't give. Some schools have like scholarships they give for people, good grades and good test scores.
Right.
Even though my daughter, was one of the top in her class, a lot of schools gave her, like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year, for 4 or 5 years, how long you're there, stuff like that. Other schools didn't. And then also on top of that, you can qualify for like no interest loans. That the private schools will have 0 interest loans, through their own school. So that's that's free money. To really turn that down.
Right.
So basically, like USD is about 56 a year. So I think the first 2 years, we got off pretty good. The next 2.5 years, we'll probably be paying, probably close to $100,000 in the last, 3 years of our school.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, they try and make it work. And the private schools really look at your income going in and out, and they'll even look at your whole tax return. So a lot of times the public schools just look straight, what your gross income is. And they don't look at, well, I'll have a business that, all that money,
written off, right?
Expenses.
Right.
But at least the private schools will actually look at your tax returns and figure, okay, even though you made $200,000, you really don't have $200,000. You have like 40.
Right. So, which is a typical application for most of my self-employed clients. I grossed $500,000 and I made $5. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the way some schools look at it, they just basically look at your the FAFSA is basically look on what your 1099 or your 1040 shows.
Yeah.
And then they don't look at what it takes to if you have 2 houses or you're upside down in a house or someone's on disability, things like that. So it is quite the chore. Like we have 3 kids, but lucky our kids are 10 years apart. So
you see, there you go. Yeah, I got them at 2 years.
10 years.
All right, Doug, I'm gonna let you go. We got to take a break for the top of the hour. Thank you so much. That was good information. Hope your daughter's enjoying University of San Diego. Great looking school, just a great facility up there overlooking the Mission Bay. This is Talkin' Money. We got to take a quick break. We come back for hour 2 of 2. Make sure you're around when we come back. I got a lot of text here to read, and I haven't even got to what the city of Sacramento is, why they're in the Wall Street Journal. We'll talk to that too.
And they're increasing sales tax on Monday.
Oh yeah? Okay. We'll be right back.
Talking money.
Yeah, I get it, you're an outcast. Always under attack, always coming in last. Bringing up the past, no one owes you anything. I think you need a shotgun blast, a kick in the ass. So paranoid, watch your back.
Let's get back to action with Talkin' Money and your host, Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, how you doing? Welcome back. Hour 2 of 2.
Happy Saturday. Here we are. Everybody's awake now. Tuning in.
Happy Easter tomorrow. And if you missed the first hour, don't ask me what we covered. I don't know. It just was but the college stuff keeps rolling in here, so obviously we're not the only people looking at that. We'll talk a couple articles here that make me think about why are we doing what we're doing there. Hey, let's do this. Let's do a ticket drop. This is the last weekend of our Sierra Tahoe Ski Pass giveaway. I believe, Sierra, you're thinking closes when?
I'm thinking mid-April.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and probably if we don't get a lot more snow. Yeah, they'll get a little more snow. Actually, next week's calling for some more snow, too, so be some good skiing. We'll do this. No questions. If you won before, that's okay. If you got it, you got to use them, though. We'll give you a pair. That's two. That's 2 fingers, not 1 finger. This is 1 finger. This is 2 fingers. I'll give you a pair of ski passes here at Tahoe if you know your name and address, so I can send them to you. This is going to be a tough question, and for you, some of you, you're just not going to quite make it there.
Pay attention.
That's right. The rest of you will be fine. 339-1140, or you can text your name and address to 441140. We'll take the first 4 callers. We'll give you a pair of passes to Sierra Tahoe ski and boarding. You can just write them down the chair if you want. I don't care if you want to get off. Whatever you want to do. We'll get those out to you this week, so you can get up and use them before they close. And then we fire back up with Sacramento River Cats coming up in 2 weeks. We'll get going on the River Cats, and they should be back.
Baseball season around the corner.
Yeah, back. Well, yeah, we'll do 4 winners, Chris. You can take them off the text or off the phone, whatever you prefer in there, and we'll get those out. Thank you very much, Sierra Tahoe.
Good times this year up there.
Yeah, I just can't thank them enough. They were other than the one day that John and I totally butchered. What was probably going to be one of the best ski days of the year.
That's a day I want to forget about.
It's just, other than watching my vehicle run with nobody in it and the keys locked inside, and even worse, I could care less about that. My skis were locked
on the rack,
on top. Other than that day,
we are not so bright sometimes. Most times.
You could probably isolate the times we are bright on. We're still waiting for a good one.
Generally, it's eating donuts, talking about peeps.
That's right. A good example of that. So I'll roll out of my. I did get a few texts off the 441140 about college. Get your kids in band. A lot of them get priority into the school and get some help, financial help. I've heard that too. I've heard that with dance. One of my daughters, actually all my daughters dance, but if you can get them into some sort of a program, that's can be helpful. Sometimes I've heard if you identify, there's a certain major, certain degree you want, you're going to go right after that immediately. If that part of that school isn't quite filled yet, maybe you can get in under that niche. So there's things that we'll find somebody that can help us out there. This is the part that always makes me go, oh man, we have to spend that kind of money on college, because right out of the U.S. Wall Street Journal U.S. News report from March 26th, college grads may be stuck in low-skilled jobs. It is estimated by some measures that nearly half of employed college graduates are in jobs that don't require a college degree at all. And that's the part that you go, you spend, and that's where the uproar is. I mean, you get all these kids that are coming out and spend a bunch of money on school, and they have a bunch of college debt, and they're looking around going, dude, I could do this job. I could come right out of high school and do this job.
Yep.
So you look at, I still say, well, there's two big, huge advantages to college. One is it gives you another 4 to 5 years. It's okay to be stupid and do stupid stuff.
They call those life experiences.
Yes, within reason, not against the law, but just it's okay to do stupid stuff. While you're in that period of time, that's when it's for. You got to get that out of your system. But you still look at what they call the learning curve here, and the average earnings for 2011. This is by degree. And if you come out of college, if you come some college but no degree, so basically a little more than high school, average earnings for 2011 for that group is almost the same. Has really been almost the same since 1991. It has not changed a whole lot. It's about $48,000 a year. It's kind of the average income. It doesn't mean that you start at 48 grand, but it's kind of what the average person earns after being in a job. That's some college but no degree. Then you go up and you get an associate's degree. It's about 51 grand. And the high school diploma, so a diploma, no college at all, is only worth about 42 grand. So bachelor's degree worth almost $72,000. The high point of that was about in the year 2000 when things were really booming. So there is a mathematical difference, so between high school's at 42 and bachelor's degrees is at almost 72. It's about 30 grand a year on average. So multiply that out over some work expectancies, take over 20 years, that's almost $600,000. So, yeah.
There's still a lot of people out there that have jobs, been at a job for 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and they can't get that next pay level raise because they don't have a degree, solely because they don't have a degree. And that's just their prerequisite. Now,
here's the if you're going to live in China, everything that we've just talked about can go away. Because in China,
of course,
it's exactly the opposite. When you talk about unemployment rate, the highest people unemployed in China are those with university degrees. There's 16.4% unemployment in China. If you just have an elementary school degree, your unemployment rate is 4.2. Now you're getting paid $2 an hour to put together jackets, but you're employed. So it is a little different world in China. The higher degree you have, the more likely you're unemployed in China, because you probably don't want to do.
What kind of degree does 30-year-old Kim Jong-un hold?
He's only 30?
30 years old.
The degree, and I'm about ready to get my butt kicked degree.
Let's hope so.
I don't know.
That is our North Korean leader right now.
What is he? He has a degree in what?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just questioning.
But his degree is in stirring up the pot, I think.
Yes.
So 30 years old, running the country. Well, there's a different mentality over there. You got to make people believe in you somehow. If you believe the whole world's out against you, then I guess maybe they'll stand behind you until the first one drops on your head.
That's right, and then you run.
So you run on that way. So we got, let's get into some other fun stuff today as well, and some good news. I did mention here during the break. Oh, by the way, if you, I'll cover this in a little bit, but if you follow the Dow and Tiger Woods, did you see that?
That's classic. I saw that.
Oh, we'll go ahead and do it. So this is a interesting, but so far fairly relevant and fairly accurate description of the Dow and Tiger Woods playing. In fact, if you look at the charts in terms of their ups and their downs, they're almost a mirror of one another. So if you watch, Tiger Woods just became the number one player in the world again. And according to this chart, you might want to start buying some stocks, because if he's going up, so is the Dow. And the last decade has produced a strange synchronicity between Tiger Woods' performance on the golf course and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And the high point in Tiger's career in terms of what they put a average points, I guess is what they called his scoring and different things too. So he put that, his high point was about 07, which is where the Dow peaked. His low point when he crashed his car was just after, they went through a period of, I think the crash was around 09-10, and then you come back out and he falls back up again. So if you want to follow Tiger's golf, you might place your bets with the Dow as it goes on too, because they are almost in mirror of one another. So we'll see if that continues on, but maybe Nike stock is one of the lead indicators there. I don't know. So
I don't know.
You're following Tiger, you're following the Dow. You don't even have to watch.
He's got a skiing girlfriend now too.
Yeah, well, she's not skiing at the moment.
No, she's not.
Missing part of her knee there, but other than that, yeah, that's interesting. So if you are, let me go to the Sacramento, because this has a lot of relevance, and this is interesting. If you're following the discussions downtown, John was mentioning they're also raising some taxes downtown.
Sales tax going up on Monday, 0.5%.
The one, I think the one thing that always kind of drives me nuts a little bit is that when you have the discussion of the arena and should we put money into a facility, and people inevitably show up and say, hey, we don't have enough police presence, we don't have enough, we need money for other things. And I always think, in my own mind, I always think, and I'm not down there, I'm not watching the budget, I always think that those two things are irrelevant. I mean, if you're trying to put together a building to generate traffic, to generate more basketball, more entertainment type things, that money in some ways self-funds itself. If you have the building, more people will come, you'll do more events there. and you'll make money in taxes off of it. If you don't have the building, then that money doesn't come in. But it doesn't mean you're sitting. There's not a big pot of money there. You're saying, well, I can put it over here in the building, or I can put it over here and pay the policeman. In many instances, they're two different pots of money. In my mind, maybe you don't agree, and maybe that's not accurate. But you start looking then. This is out of the Wall Street Journal, and this is called the debt bomb that taxpayers don't see coming. And right off the bat, the third paragraph quotes the city of Sacramento. And you start to ask yourself, oh boy, in January 2013, city officials in Sacramento, California's capital, reported the results of a study they had commissioned on all the debt the municipality has incurred. At a city council meeting, the Sacramento Bee reported as sobering. City manager explained the Sacramento had racked up some $2 billion in obligations, mostly pensions and retiree health care. All this for a municipality of 477,000 residents with an annual general fund budget of $366 million. So we have 7 times our total budget in the city of Sacramento obligated for pensions and retiree health care. Sacramento city finances are already stretched. The city has cut some 1,200 workers, or 20% of its workforce, in the past several years, and servicing its debt in years to come will only add more woe. Generally, according to the article, this goes on and just talks about other cities. Governments have set aside only about 5% of the money they'll need to pay these promises. So you do have to ask yourself, I don't live in the city, but the city is $2 billion behind, or has a $2 billion gun at its head for retiree and pension plans. It only has a $360 million budget per year, and retaining the Kings is now our number one priority, and I'm all for it. I'm totally for it, and I get the fact that we can do more things than one at a time. We can look at a couple different directions. I'm not a believer that if you put $1 toward the arena that's $1 that could have gone somewhere else, because the money that they're proposing to put there in a lot of cases comes from the future and income generated by the building and by the parking and all the other things as well. So to say that, hey, if we could have put that money somewhere else, no building, no money, no parking, no revenue, no taxes, no Bon Jovi, no ice skating, no monster truck pulls, no Kings, no Monarchs, no nothing. If you don't have the building. So I think it's a little bit inaccurate to say, well, we should have put our money over here instead of over here. But the thing is, I don't understand why. How come we're not hearing more about this? How come this isn't a bigger fire issue?
We got to read it out of the Wall Street Journal.
We got to read it out of a national paper, a month later. And maybe if I was more keyed into the city of Sacramento, I would know those things and be following them. The question is that if you're a city employee or retiree right now, in fact, I think this goes for any STRS, PERS, any type of a pension type of plan, do you feel comfortable and confident that your income is going to last you your lifetime if you're retired? Are you confident that these cities, states, and counties and Fed can live up to their obligations? It says right here, 5% of the money needed to pay all these promises is put away. That means 95% of the money has to come from somewhere else.
And we're already way behind.
Your trust fund, your trust fund of retirement funds is not there. There's only a nickel in the drawer. You need $1, and that would scare the hell out of me if I were relying solely on the fact that my city, state, PERS, STRS, those pension checks is going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming in the short term, but we have a problem. We're getting older. We're retiring more than we're getting new workers. And we're in this state, we're losing people as they retire and would get big money. They're leaving. And so I read this and I do think that, wow, if there was as much publicity about this type of issue as there was about the Kings leaving, we'd be having some different discussions. And I think we can discuss both, and I'm all in favor of discussing both, but you sure don't hear this. And this is a $2 billion shotgun at your head. And the Kings leaving is not nearly the shotgun at your head as it would appear. But that would scare me if my income was coming from there. So I don't know what you feel about it. If you are familiar with that discussion and would like to talk about it, please jump in today, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We've got Bill's been patiently waiting. Bill, welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's happening?
I've had a business for about 15 years, and I got an offer on it to sell it for about $4.2 million, and I just want to know the best ways to, exit that properly so I can pay the least amount of taxes. I'll take my answer off the air. If you have any questions for you, I can answer them.
Okay, very good. So Bill's got business he's going to sell. What's the best way to do that? It isn't calling dummies like us. The best way to do that, Bill, is to get an attorney and a financial planner on the phone, and
a good CPA, business related,
and a CPA, and assemble yourself a little team. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling it for $4.3 million or $43 million or $43,000.
That's right.
Because there could be tax implications of them all along the way, and it doesn't cost nearly as much to do it right as it does to do it wrong. And so you have to. If you have a business that someone's willing to pay you $4.3 million for, then you're a very smart guy or a very lucky guy or probably both, and someone who's probably worked your rear end off. And I hate to see you give any more away than you have to. And there's just a litany of issues that go on about, after the business is sold, and what are your obligations and what are theirs, and can you start another business, and all these things that go on. So if you don't know somebody, text me at 441140, your name and number. I'll send you some names of some people, because that is a very, very complicated transaction. And congratulations to you, by the way. But yeah, some planning on all of the above. How we draft the document, and what do I do with the money, and when it comes out, and what you're buying and what you're not buying.
What are you going to do in the future? Yeah,
because some people will say, "Look, Bill, we don't want to buy your company because we don't want any any liabilities." This is very common in the mortgage business. If someone wanted to buy a mortgage company, they don't necessarily want to buy your company because they don't want any of the legacy issues that may come along with it. There may be lawsuits that are coming down the road they don't know about. What they really want to buy is your position in the market, your staff, your name recognition. They want to buy something else about the ability to generate income without all the backside. So, and that goes for any business. If you're producing a widget, and what is it you're really trying to buy? So, please, for your own benefit, seek out a good attorney. And most people that are selling a business use a business broker. Not all the times, but most of them do. And those brokers,
depends who's buying it. Yeah.
You could be selling it to a existing employee, and that's very common. The employees are going to get together and I'm going to retire. They're going to buy me out. So do a little homework, please. Spend a few bucks. You'd be shocked how cheap $250 an hour is with a good attorney if you
right.
on the front side as opposed to on the back side when you're defending yourself against something. And the worst part is the tax, how you structure that and how you get that money and
right.
And
how you're getting your payment. Is it lump sum? Is it over time?
Yeah.
Are you still involved in it?
And there again, John and I aren't CPAs, but are they buying just the assets, or what are they buying, and has that been depreciated down? Just because there's all kinds of things. So good question, but please check into that a little bit and find out what you can do there. We got to take another quick break, and off the text line, I have 2.7% at 55 with PERS. I'm 27 years away from retiring with 30 years in service. I'm worried about the money won't be there when I retire. Yeah, and that should be that isn't just the city of Sacramento. That's any institution. I mean, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And there's some great articles that go on that same article there about the people that are not funding their own 401ks and doing other deferred things and putting other monies away. So they have 3 pots of money. If one pot doesn't do so well, okay, I won't draw from that. I'll go over here a little bit. There's lots of ways to do that.
Yeah, the world has changed from the old days of I'm getting this at the end when I retire and it's going to be there. I mean, everybody's concerned.
Yep.
Should be.
Let's throw out a quiz question at 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can give us a call if you'd like, and text at 441140. Go ahead. What you got there?
So Random House has given a $5,000 bonus to each of his employee based on the sale of one book. What is that book?
Everybody got $5,000.
Everybody got $5,000.
Wow. Nice company.
Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah. Off the sale of one book. I didn't think anybody bought books anymore, but I guess.
And that's part of the article is just saying how struggling publishers out there, and here Random House has got a 23% increase to $2.7 billion. They're doing quite well, and this one book has been fantastic for them.
Okay. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. If you're on hold, please stay there. I'll get right back to you when we come back. What is the one book, sinners,
dirty book,
that has accounted for all a large profit at Random House? This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back, Jax.
Talkin' Money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good morning, everyone.
We are back. Thank you for tuning in. This is Talkin' Money. Jeff Tarbell, John Poderero. It is 339-1140. If you want to jump in, you can text me at 441140. If you missed in the first break there, we were talking a little bit about the article in the Wall Street Journal that came up and the debt bomb that taxpayers won't see coming. Talked a little bit about, quoted in the first paragraph, the city of Sacramento. Just so happens that on a Saturday morning, City Treasurer Russell Fair happened to be listening. And Russell, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you today?
Good. First of all, I am shocked that someone with a job and occupation listens to this show, so I'm thrilled and appreciate you jumping in. So I guess you caught part of that or some of the discussion.
Yeah, I'm concerned, quite frankly, Jeff. One, I want to make a comment about the city's disclosure and transparency, and I think some of the facts are being misrepresented.
And so did you see the article in the Wall Street Journal?
No, I haven't. Guy at the Taxpayers League tried to send it to me, but I couldn't open the link. But
yeah, this was actually this weekend. So, and it's a very short snippet of a bigger article, and so certainly they'll take out whatever portion and put it in the article that suits their article. So go ahead, I'll let you jump in there.
I was the author of the report on $2 billion liabilities that the city has, and I presented it to the city council and did a lot of briefings with the media and unions and stuff. And our pension and retiree medical liabilities are less than half of that.
Okay.
Around $800 million or so of our long-term liabilities are fixed-rate debt, bonds that are being paid down over time. They're fixed-rate, 30-year vanilla debt. Then we borrowed for infrastructure projects. So they're booked as long-term liabilities, but, we don't have any variable rate, weird structures or anything. $440 million is our retiree medical plan, unfunded. That's a serious problem. The actuarial funding ratios on our three pension plans are 80% funded, 20% unfunded. Even if you use the lower discount rates that some people propose, the funding ratios drop to 60%. So this 5% number is, I just don't understand.
And that was a reference.
And I could see that it would be the cash now meets 5% of the total obligations in the future, and you assume that cash will never earn a penny in interest. I guess maybe that's the logic.
Yeah, and part of the article, so the article jumps around a number of things, and you're at a disadvantage because you didn't see it, but I think part of the gist of the article is that there's a debt bomb that taxpayers, state and local governments, according to this, owe $7.3 trillion in promises that they've made that were never approved by voters. So it talks about different funds, and so the $800 million in the fixed rate debt, those are issues. Now, are those issues that were put on by voters?
No,
or those are...
no, and that's a point. Is that in California, local governments routinely issue debt without voter approval. As a matter of fact, the city just sold. We closed it, got the cash on Thursday. $250 million worth of water revenue bonds to fix water infrastructure. The treatment plant on the Sacramento River is 90 years old.
Right.
Closed the deal, got a great deal, 3.82% interest. Again, vanilla, fixed rate, 30-year level debt service, very conservative structure, no voter approval, and that's a truthful statement. The reason I called was, one, I just wanted to set the record straight on some of the numbers. I don't want to say there is no pension problem in California. There's a very serious pension problem. The retiree medical problem is serious, but I just wanted to point out that, a lot of the city's long-term obligation is not pensions, is not benefits to employees. It's debt that we issued to fix infrastructure, develop infrastructure, and the future generations that will pay some of that debt will have benefit from the infrastructure. The water treatment plant will service multiple generations.
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing about the city is it was the city manager's idea that I write this report and present it. You haven't seen anybody else in the region do a similar thing. Say, here are our liabilities, and publicly disclose them and say, here they are. Here's our problem. We acknowledge it. And, a lot of people pointed to the city, look at this horrible problem you have. A lot of others have a very similar problem. They're just not talking about it. We are.
Yeah, they haven't documented it on paper yet, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So what do you take about part two of my discussion there, which is the part that kind of irks me a little bit sometimes when you talk about the new arena and the Kings, and I always think that you're talking about apples and oranges, but there's certainly, and I'm getting texts here today saying our money should go towards retiree pensions and funds, not toward the Kings, and I mean we're really talking about two different pools of money, aren't we?
Well, there's this parking tool and parking monetization is a way we can take that cash flow from our parking enterprise and convert it to an upfront lump sum of money.
Right.
And it's up to the city council, and I work for them. They're my bosses. Have chosen from a policy perspective that this is the project they want to use and or use the money for.
Okay.
And I guess there'd be other uses. This is the use the policymakers have chosen to use the money for.
Now, but Russ, if there's no, so you have some parking revenue now that comes in, but if there's no new building down there, and I'm not coming out from Placer County down to the city of Sacramento to watch an event, then you're not going to get my parking dollar anyway. So
let me explain something about this, and I did it in front of the city council Tuesday night when I was explaining it. The parking model and the monetization is based on what we already have.
Okay.
It's based on the parking system as it is. The bond sizing is based on parking revenues as they are. We're expecting a little kick up based on efficiency, but we're not depending on any event-related revenues for the borrowing. We're not expecting the parking system to grow geographically, and after an initial kick-up due to efficiency and new technology, future revenue growth is inflationary. So, it's not at all a build it and they will come assumption, sort of like New York or others. It's based on what we have already and the strong cash flows we get out of parking and a recognition compared to the private sector. We could operate our current parking system more efficiently. So,
okay, then some of the this is more of a political discussion. So some of the opponents then do have a point then, because if I have an entity that's making me $1 a year, or $1 a month every month, and I say, hey, I'll sell it to you for $50, I'll sell you the next 50 years worth of it now, then I am in fact what I'm doing is ramping up all the future income stream, and I'm taking a lump sum now. So I'm foregoing the future income stream. So that parking money now goes into your general fund.
Well, part of it does.
Okay.
And something else we've done in looking this is the model that other jurisdictions used was to sell their parking or lease it long-term to the private sector
Right.
for a lump sum. And quite frankly, I rejected that approach way back in October 11. It wouldn't work in Sacramento, and quite frankly, it's just a total ripoff. 12% discount rate for 50 years. Who'd want to do that?
Right.
So what we've developed is this public model with the nonprofit, where once we get through the first few years where there's existing debt that has to be paid down on facilities and the cash flows are tighter, what would otherwise be profit going to investors comes back to the city.
Good.
So, the profit comes back to us. It honestly takes about 10 years for the debt to get paid off, current debt on facilities, and for the cash flows to mature. The thing doesn't lose money in the first few years, and it returns $3 million a year to the general fund from the get-go. But, profit, from year 10 to year 25 in the model is substantial, comes back to the city, and so we also take advantage of public sector cost of capital in the 5 to 6% range instead of an 8 to 12% discount rate under the private sector model. So we've done something to make it as efficient as possible. I'm a treasurer. I'm responsible for managing debt and cash, and I don't make political assessments or judgments. I follow the policy direction of the city council.
Russ, I appreciate your call today, and that gives me a good indication of what's going on down there. And thanks for clearing us up a little bit on some of the Wall Street Journal article.
And thanks for talking about finance every week.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Thanks a lot, Russell.
Great high level call there. That's good.
Russell
straight
Ferris,
news.
City Treasurer, City of Sacramento, wanted to call in and talk a little bit about the Wall Street Journal article and kind of broke down the $2 billion. Hey, we're not $2 billion in retiree and pensions. We still have a problem. We have $400 million that we're worried about, but the other numbers are being paid back and they're on fixed rates. And you got to have a water system. You got to have some other things that are all in the pile of money. And actually, I like this explanation better about the parking, which is, we're going to monetize it, but we're going to do it our way. We're going to get the returns. We're not going to pass the returns on. And so there's someone down there who knows money, and that's always been my problem about politicians. Is most of them you wouldn't have them manage the cookie fund on 50 boxes of cookies, let alone anything else. And so I like it when they say, hey, let's go find a money guy, and you figure out the best way to do it with like he talked about public funds. He borrows at 2% and 3%. Not from 12% from people.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if the profits coming back, come back to the city. Good. Let's put the city in a profit position.
And the fact that they put it out in a report and they're showing it out there, at least they are aware of it, and it's not just dusted underneath the carpet.
Yeah, I think what Russ was saying was just because we put it in writing doesn't mean everybody else doesn't have the same problem, if not bigger. We just happen to document ours because someone asked, and that's the thing. Sweeping it under the carpet, not recognizing the problem doesn't mean there isn't one. Because it's in every municipality. Usually you read about it after the fact.
Right.
How did you guys not know this? City of Bell, by the way. We got to take a break. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. Got one more quiz question for the show today, and talking about money.
Yes, we're talking
big money.
Famous logo designs and how much they cost.
Oh yeah, I think I think I ripped this off from Don Geronimo. In fact, Don's famous word is, if you steal from me, you're stealing twice. So I stole from you, Mr. G.
Twice.
This is on his website.
Jeffy stealing twice.
Go ahead.
But the question is, we have companies out there, Pepsi, Nike, Twitter, Enron,
Google,
some of the Olympics, BP, spending upwards of over $200 million for logos. My question today is the Google logo. What is the price tag for the Google logo?
Those guys are rich. So how much do they paid for the Google logo to have it designed? Right.
That's correct.
339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin' Money. He's John. I'm Jeff. You'll be right back.
Talking money.
we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Right.
Here we are.
We're almost out of here.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Last segment of the day, 339-1140. If you want to jump in with your brilliance or your BS, either one, fine with that. We did have a quiz question before the break, and the question was... Well, actually, we stole this from Don Geronimo. He had it on a link on his Facebook. I copied it, pasted it, sent it to John, said, hey, that's pretty cool.
And he stole it from LinkedIn. So
yeah, he stole it from somebody else. That's fine. We just roll it around.
That's how we roll.
So give me some. So the question was how much did Google spend? But give me some other ones. Like Nike was on there, and like how much did Nike spend?
Nike spent $35 on the original Nike swoosh.
Got a fairly decent return on that money. Okay.
Twitter, $15.
That little bird.
The Glasgow 2014 Olympic Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
On that design, logo design, $95,000.
Let me see. What does that look like? For the 2014
Commonwealth Games.
Okay. All right. So and our question was how much did Google spend?
Right. Google spent the same amount Coca-Cola spent.
Yeah, a lot.
$0. Google was originally designed by Sergey Brin, one of Google's founders, and he designed it. They changed the colors every other day, and that was nicely done.
That was it, huh? And now you see, so I'm trying to figure out, so like sometimes you come up with Google and it has like a picture that says Google in it, and I'm wondering, are those people submitting those? I wonder if like artists maybe will send theirs in. And
I think they have an art department that probably does that.
Yeah, or if someone just create one. So Google.
The other two, Coca-Cola with a price tag of $0, was created by the bookkeeper of Coca-Cola back in 1885. And
I'd ask for a raise if I was
just a cursive script, and $0. So,
but there was some in there was like
BP. You have BP, right? You think about logo design, branding. BP has a number here that says $211 million.
For what is
$211 million, and it states it has more to do with the
implementation of
the
it.
Implementation because they're putting on vehicles, they're putting it on buildings,
burning oil rigs,
all kinds of different things. But
John, go put a logo on our new burning rig out there, will you? That's going to cost a few bucks.
Yes.
So $0 for Google. So those of you that got that right, we will. I'll probably get one off.
Get
the
you
phone,
some ski passes or some round table artesian pizzas.
So this will. Speaking of nothing. Speaking of Easter, because I have the little pictures of the peeps there, and
this is unbelievable.
I actually need to. So my grandparents used to bring me these peeps all the time when we were kids. I mean, that's how old peeps is. I mean, this peeps goes way back. I need to get some of those. I got to get a little.
This is how old these peeps is.
This is how these peeps is. So speaking of bailouts, we've had the mortgage bailout, we've had the Wall Street bailout, we've had the bank bailout, we've had virtually every bailout there is.
Auto bailout.
Thank you. We may be having some retiree health care. Ben, I'm 2 for 2 on your quizzes today. We don't do double winners, sinner. And whoever did we give out the 50 Shades winner? We didn't give that one out.
Oh, we missed that.
We gave out the.
We didn't mention it though.
Did I give out the answer? I didn't give out the answer, did I? So the Random House one?
Random House, yeah. So they gave $5,000 bonus to each of the employees that have been there for at least a year. So $5,000 thank you bonus.
Off of one book.
And that book was, like you said, 50 Shades. This book has just demolished any recent books out there. It hasn't caught up to the Wizard Boy of Harry Potter, but
or the
huge
Bible
numbers, just huge numbers though.
The anti-Bible, the 50 Shades book. I have not read the book. I don't think I'm in the demographic for the 50 Shades book. My wife has not read the book, but everybody else in the world has.
Some of your friends have probably.
Yeah. So 50 Shades. So the 50 Shades.
It sold more than 70 million copies.
Now, is there just one 50 Shades book, or is there a trilogy? Okay, there's 3 of them now. So that one book provided a nice little bonus for the Random House people, because I don't think there's a lot of bonuses in the book world.
No.
Lately. So anyway, I just happened to catch it. And I realized that we didn't give that out. So this is the next bailout. Anybody want to take a guess? Chris, what do you think the next big bailout? No, put your hand down. Richard, what's the next big bailout? It has to do with Peeps.
Oh, I was going to say radio.
Easter Peeps.
Right. They will not bail out radio. They will close the door and burn the place to the ground. There will be no radio bailout at all. The Big Sugar. Big Sugar
bailout
is the next bailout. And guess who's going to bail them out?
Let me guess. The U.S. government.
Well, no, you and me are going to bail them out if we buy anything that has sugar in it, which is basically all we've had this morning. We already put half of them back. So get this: the U.S. Department of Agriculture is considering buying 400,000 tons of sugar. Enough, by the way, for 142 billion Hershey Kisses, if you're keeping track. Why would they do that?
In order to stabilize the cost and of making sugar. Producing.
Supply and demand, right?
Yep.
So if there's no supply, prices go down, just like rates. If nobody wants to buy your rate, the rates go down. And then if there's a huge demand, prices go up. Well, right now, there's not a tremendous demand for sugar. In fact, sugar prices are at their lowest all year, actually in the last year.
Now, if I check that based on the price of a candy bar now versus where it was, I'd have to disagree with that.
I agree. So here's the problem. The people that turn sugar beets into sugar beets and sugar cane into granulated sugar, the stuff that they sell to, Hershey's and everybody else that they actually can get used, have borrowed $862 million under a government price support program, and now they can't pay it back. So rather than extending their loans or letting them default, the government's going to come in and buy up a ton, 400,000 tons.
A lot of tons.
Of sugar, raise the prices up. Then the sugar manufacturers can sell their prices at a higher price to everybody who buys sugar, the Nestle's and the Hershey's of the world, which in turn gets put into the product that we buy. So the prices go up, and we effectively bail out the sugar people because they borrowed a bunch of money they can't pay back. They made a bet. They made a loan based on prices that have just plummeted. And now we are going to bail out.
Did I tell you how much I like this kind of processes? I just love this stuff. It really makes me feel...
You're a big fan of the bailout.
Oh,
huh?
I love bailouts.
So higher prices would hit food companies, including candy giants Mars, Hershey, and Nestle, and ultimately boost retail food prices at a time when many consumers are financially stretched. Clearly, the USDA has made up its mind that big sugar is going to trump the American consumer. So just for that, and so if you don't buy, so Hershey and Nestle, they didn't do anything wrong.
Nope.
They're buying sugar from the manufacturer. So the government talked them into taking these loans out. The prices dropped out. They can't pay the loan back. So we're going to artificially raise the prices so you and I can pay more.
Yes. And if you're in Sacramento County, your sales tax is going up Monday at a point of 0.5%, so 8.5%, which is going to bring our county, actually the city of Sacramento, an increase of $28 million a year. So again, coming out of your pocket, Jeff Tarbell.
I don't live in the city of Sacramento.
Well,
it comes out of someone's pocket. We could ask Russell about that too, but I had him on the spot too many times there. So off the text line today, I'm not reading that. Wait until your wife reads the book, Jeff. My wife got really freaky in the bedroom. Okay.
Right.
I think we'll end on that note for a Saturday.
Happy Easter.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe I should read it. Sinners. You're all a bunch of sinners. And I didn't get the $5,000 bonus either. Someone better give me a bonus if I read that book. That's it. Hey,
here's today's bonus.
I got that bonus. That is it. Hey, please have a happy, safe Easter. Enjoy yourself out there. Maybe get a little skiing in. John will be back next Saturday. I'll be off, doing a little traveling, and then we'll catch up with you then. So you can find us during the week on our Facebook page or JeffTarbell.com. For John Fodorero, my name is Jeff Tarbell. We'll see you next Saturday, everybody. Aloha. Freaks.